Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a review of a disc that has been around for a while, but it got very little play when it came out for a number of reasons. It is devoted to the orchestral music of von Holmboe. So one of the reasons it didn't get much play is because it's the orchestral music of von Holmboe, who few people know and care about. But he was a magnificent 20th century Danish composer, following in the footsteps of Nielsen and Bartók and that kind of crew. His music is quite listenable and extremely enjoyable, intellectually rather sophisticated. He wrote a pile of symphonies and a pile of string quartets and a pile of concertos. He was a clumpist. He wrote music in clumps, and I love clumpists. He wrote a bunch of sinfonias. He wrote a bunch of chamber symphonies, the groups of works. And one of the most interesting groups of works, four of them, all fit on one disc. It's his 4 symphonic Metamorphoses. Now that sounds so uninviting, doesn't it? I mean, it really does. But these are splendid works. They all have names. The names are Epitaph and Monolith and Epilogue and Tempo Variabile, tempo meaning weather, where variable weather, not speed. Of course, speed is part of it, naturally. And there are 4 of these things. They are rather late works. They are written between 1954 and 1972. And I think that they're just extraordinary and fun to listen to. If you want something that you may not get all of it the first time you hear it, but you get a sense that there's really something there worth revisiting. And then you listen to it again and again and again, and they reward that repeated listening as you start to internalize their process. Because the idea of metamorphosis was something that Holmboe was concerned with all of his life. A lot of his symphonies begin with the same idea. He was not a tunesmith normally. I mean, he wrote tunes. He wrote some very good tunes. But more often than not, he worked with small motives or ideas that gradually evolve and change and vary. And you pursue this throughout his larger forms. Well, these are works that depend entirely on that process. And so you hear very pregnant ideas right at the beginning, and they come back and in different shapes. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. And they have different emotional qualities when they come back in those different shapes, which is what makes them so interesting. But let me tell you just a little bit about the shape of each one of these things, because they're all different. And that's also what makes it so much fun. So Epitaph has 3 movements, an allegro con fuoco, then an andante with several tempo variations, and then allegro con brio, and it lasts 22 minutes. And these are all single works, but big works, serious works, symphonic works. So that's Epitaph. Then Monolith is only 8 minutes long. It's short, but it's in one continuous movement in 4 sections. They are allegro con forza, andante tranquillo, allegro, then once again, allegro con forza. And then Epilogue is 26 minutes long in one gigantic movement. So that makes it as long as Metamorphoses or Death and Transfiguration or, any one of these 25-minute long symphonic poems. But he was not really a program music writer person. That wasn't his thing. He wanted the music to speak for itself in a more abstract way and for you to take from it whatever expressive content you felt was appropriate. So Epilogue is 26 minutes, and the last one, Variable Weather, Tempo Variabile, is 17 minutes and 10 seconds, and it has 4 movements. Tempo incostante, inconstant tempo. It's allegro fluente, poco allegro menomoso, tempo giusto, which then runs into a storm, tempesta. So you get to hear a storm, a contemporary storm, a nice modern music-y storm, which is molto vivace, and then tempo calmo, which is calm, obviously. And then finally, tempo piovoso e sereno. Yeah, whatever that means. Whatever. Yes, it's piovoso. So these are really fascinating works. Well worth getting to know. The performances are the same folks who did the Holmboe Symphony Cycle and other concertos and other things for Bis. It's the Aalborg Symphony Orchestra under Owain, Arwel, Hughes. Very well recorded, very well played. The cover photo is something that was created by the composer's wife, who was a sculptress, an art photographer. And really, it's all in the family here. But this is special music. It's special music even in Holmboe's own output. And I just love the way he latches onto an idea or a concept and then explores it in a series of works that are all related to each other conceptually and in how they're designed, but they're quite distinct and individual in their character and personality. And the music is just really worth digging into, taking your time to savor. It's connoisseur's music, I think. It really is. It requires a certain dedication, but boy, will it reward you if you spend the time with it. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.